Okay, start out by telling me who you're with and why you decided to come all the way to Mulgee from the Dallas area to look for employees.
Well, we're with the Dallas Area Rapid Transit. We are the transportation system for the city of Dallas and the surrounding communities. And the reason that we are up in Oak looking for applicants is because we are at the beginning of our build-out phase. We have a light rail system in Dallas that consists of 100 miles right now of track. We are expanding that and doubling the size to 200 miles over the next 5 years. Okay, as such, we're also need to increase our staff to maintain that. And so we're out here primarily looking for maintenance type personnel that will help us maintain the track, maintain the facilities, the electrical systems, the signal systems, and our communication systems. And so that whole area encompasses what we call the waste structures and amenities division of our maintenance department. So over the next 3 years or so, we're going to be doubling the size of our staff to about 300 people total. The bulk of our hiring is going to happen in 2010, which for us starts in October of this year. We're doing some preliminary hiring for some positions at this point right now. And we're up here looking because the competition in Dallas area for people is very high. There are a lot of different companies out there that are looking for qualified individuals. And we extended our search to move out to some of the technical institutions and universities and colleges throughout the nation. So that's why we're out here.
Okay, well, what interested you about OSU Institute of Technology students in our degree program here?
Basically, the curriculums that you have set in place, they match the type of people that we are looking for. So OSU in the past has proved to be a good training ground. We have had a couple of students and employees that we currently have that have graduated from here, and it's proven to be a good training ground for us, and that we came up here to see what we had to offer now and who was graduating and who'd be interested in moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay. Do you know which degrees those people got that are now working for you? Which degrees?
We require associate's degrees in electronics, construction maintenance, communications, instrumentation, technology, that type of industry is what we're looking for.
Okay, good. Is there anything else about OSU Institute of Technology that you'd like to add that was a draw for you to come up here for the job fair today?
It's just been a great place and a great source for us, so we wanted to continue that relationship, and as we grow, be able to attract, the location's good. It's not too far from Dallas, so anyone that we would hire from here, would be fairly close to home. It's not a far distance to get away. It's not like going out to California or going out to Washington, D.C. or any of those areas that would be farther away to come.
So as far as your industry is concerned, the national recession is not really affecting it, is that correct?
Actually, we're in a good place because while most companies are now downsizing, you're hearing a lot about layoffs and everything, because of our growth phase and our expansion of the rail system, we are in a hiring phase. So we are going to be putting on a lot of people. So those were already things that were put in motion, already planned, already funded, both nationally through grants and what such, as well as through the agency itself.
Do you have any idea of what a typical salary range might be for a person who might become employed with your company?
Basically, for a maintainer or anyone in the maintenance departments that comes in at the mechanic level, we have a 4-year training program. They all come in at approximately $21 an hour to start. They get a raise within the first year. They move from an M1 to an M2 to an M3. So they get 2 raises within the first year. Then they go on to a 1-year training program to an M6. We're at the top of their level. Okay.
Good. Great.
Okay.
Anything else? Start with that.
Okay.
Okay, just start by telling me about Western Farmers and what you do and about your relationship with OSU Institute of Technology.
Okay. Western Farmers Electric is what we call a G&T, Generation and Transmission Company. We make electricity and send it over high voltage power lines to a substation, at which point it's lowered in voltage, and then our distribution cooperatives take the electricity from that point and hook it to the meter at your house. So Western Farmers has the generating plants. We use coal and natural gas to heat water, to make steam, to turn the turbine, to make electricity. And so we have about 370 employees. We've been in business since the 60s, and we provide electricity to our distribution cooperatives. We have 3 basic power plants across the state. Our service territory is the state of Oklahoma. We go a little bit into Texas and a little bit into Kansas, but it's primarily the state of Oklahoma, everything except the northeast quadrant of the state. So we have been coming to OSU Okmulgee for several years, in particular with the lineman program that they have here. We've had a long-term relationship with them, have been very pleased with the results. We have a long-standing open position for any interns out of that program. They come to us on an 8-week stint, and they train with our linemen. They get some on-the-job experience. They go back, they finish some of their schooling. They come back again and finish an internship with us most of the time. And we have had several hires out of that program that have gone on to be regular full-time outstanding employees, quite frankly, at Western Farmers. So it's been a very good relationship. We have since expanded that, and most recently have been involved in the power plant technology program that's just getting off and running. We have made a contribution to that program, about $25,000 worth, to buy a power plant simulator that you hook a propane tank up to it, and it actually has a turbine with a cooling tower and those kinds of things to assist in getting this program off and running. It really drives the theories and principles of power plant operations home to the students and accelerates the learning curve. We went over and actually got to see that unit today because we had it shipped directly here, and so I hadn't had an opportunity to see it until today. It looks like it's going to be a very, very useful learning tool, in particular for that particular school. So we've also had some experience and have done some interviews with the instrumentation and electronics school, and that has been very applicable to a couple of different lines of our business, both the generation and the transmission. We've had some students go through some interviews, and we were very pleased to find that they knew the basic principles of electricity and how to use programmable logic controllers, PLCs, and that applies to both sides of our business. On the transmission side, it allows them to set the parameters at which the breakers open and close, like in your house, to keep your appliances from blowing up or overheating. We do the same thing for our substations. And so they learn how to program those devices and tell them when to open and when to close to protect our equipment. In addition to that, we have to measure how much electricity goes into and comes out of those substations. So they're involved in setting the parameters and metering, if you will, the amount of electricity that goes in and out, so we know how much to bill. So that's how that would work on the transmission side. On the generation side, which is where the power plants are, those same kind of principles are applicable because of all of the different devices we use to take readings, temperatures, pressures, all those kinds of things in our power plants. We isolate the device, they do troubleshooting, and then they use programmable logic controllers to either to regulate the parameters or to do troubleshooting and replace pieces of equipment, instrumentation, and controls. So that's kind of what Western Farmers does. That's kind of our interaction with Okmulgee, and we have had really good results, and looking forward to the power plant technology becoming, kind of our third leg of the stool that we're using to kind of prop us up in these areas, because at our company we're fast approaching a big retirement bubble. And we have very low turnover. About 4% is our turnover rate, which is extremely low. It's very good. It's a stable industry to be in. It's a stable company, and it's a really exciting time for those that are graduating right now, because if they can get their foot in the door and they can learn what they need to learn, apply themselves, then the opportunities are going to be there to learn from those that have had a lot of experience in this particular industry, and then they will be able to advance much faster than what other people have had the opportunity to, because the doors are going to be opening with folks leaving, and they can progress and fill those gaps for us. So it's been a very good win-win situation for both OSU and for Western Farmers.
Do you have any way of estimating a salary range for any of these positions?
Yes, generally speaking, they'll run from $28 to $32 an hour currently, something like that when they top out and become journeyman level in each of those disciplines. That's kind of a ballpark figure. So, high 50s, mid 50s to mid 60s. Some overtime, depending on whether you're on generation or transmission. The generation is generally at one location at that power plant. It's on a regular day shift kind of an operation. On the transmission side, there's a lot more windshield time. You drive up and down the road to go to each of those 350 substations and switch stations across our service territory. You spend some nights in the hotel. We provide a company vehicle and company credit card and provide the lodging and those kinds of things. But you get kind of the best of both worlds. You're in a temperature-controlled environment in the vehicle. When you get to the substation, usually you're in a meter house, which is temperature-controlled, heated or cooled, and so you're not stuck at a desk, but you're not out in the elements quite as bad either. So it's a pretty good mix for those that are in the instrumentation and electrical control. So obviously the linemen, they're going to be out in the weather when everybody else is huddled up at home, because that's usually when the power goes out and they have to hit the ground running. So. On the power plant side, generally it's going to be at that one location, depending on which discipline you choose. Some of it is shift work if you go into power plant operations. So that fits some people's schedules really well, because you'll work 3 days and then you may have 7 off. If you're on the E&I tech, the electrical instrumentation, you'll work day shifts, 7 to 3:30 for instance, something like that. So a lot of variety on what you want to do. As I mentioned before, our turnover rate is kind of low, but that's a lot of times to the employee's advantage. It's just we don't have quite as many openings as we would like to be able to present at these job fairs, but if you can ever get in, it's a solid place to work, and that's why we have a low turnover rate. When they come to us, they love us, and they stay.
Good deal. That's enough. Okay, start by telling me who you're with and why you decided to come to the career fair today.
Okay, I'm with the Army Corps of Engineers, and we're here with the hydropower program. We're here to interview prospective students, interns, candidates, to go into our hydropower program only. This isn't the Corps of Engineers most people think of. It's strictly the hydropower, not engineering and construction and that type of thing. We're mainly looking for electricians, mechanics, electronic background, operations, which is the control of our power plants through master plants. And that's basically it. We're not into construction anymore like we used to be in the Corps of Engineers in the 60s and 70s. So we're looking for people like that. The hydropower plants are traditionally small crews, so we're not looking to hire 20 or 30 people like a lot of the private industry does. We're looking for that 1, 2, up to 6 people a year that we can take and mold into what we want. We're depending on OSU to steer them on their course of study, their formal studies, get them lined out, keep them on track, and then we'll take them and mold them after the first 2 years. The first 2 years, we're looking for people that want to go to school, come to our hydro plants, let us train them. We'll do our own training there, and they'll also have to keep up their GPA of a 3.0 or above here at OSU. After the 2 years, they'll graduate here with an associate's. We encourage them to get their bachelor's, by the way. And the last 2 years of our training program, we in-house train these electrical, mechanical, and operations interns into the people that we want. And you will be tested through academics, through correspondence books, oral tests, supervisory interviews. It's a little rigorous. They're going to think they're back at OSU again. So that's what I'm looking for here today.
Have you talked to a lot of students at the career fair?
Okay.
Move to your right, Mr. Clancy. We're going to get a little more of that hand. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Sorry for the... Okay, I'm ready.
Your career. So $25 an hour in this part of the state is very good, especially when we train you and you're getting an education. That's an excellent opportunity.
Stand up and the economy fluctuates.
How does this career stand up with the fluctuations in the economy and the national recession?
Well, hydropower, knock on wood, is almost immune. Excuse me, that's not to say nothing can happen. Hydropower is what's considered infrastructure, and with President Obama in office, he's been very proactive on infrastructure, has promised to apply monies towards infrastructure. Hydropower is one of those items in that infrastructure. Of course, you have wind turbines and that type of thing, but the power industry has been fairly immune to any past record of economic recession. We've been very blessed. Of course, that's one reason when somebody gets into hydropower, they very seldom leave. They retire is what they do. They don't quit. It's a very good, stable occupation to get into.